Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Ain't That Something. In tonight's episode, we're going to dive deeper into this conversation about cuffing season. This episode is going to focus on a number of things. The first thing we want to talk about is how red flags are missed oftentimes, leading people even deeper and further into a relationship. And when I say deeper and further, I mean like deep down, walking down the aisle. And the man or even the woman that you're walking down towards, they're looking at you, you're looking at them. It's supposed to be a wonderful event and special moment in your life, but you can't help but think about all of the things that you know don't sit well with you, you're not happy with, you are just knowing that you are about to endure some struggle and some challenge. But you have optimism. You are positive. You love this person. And so as you're approaching them and as you join hands with them and you say your vows and you kiss, you are thinking in the back of your mind, like, although I know all of this is going on with him or her, I am going to make sure that we get through this and we can make it all the way through and have a long-lasting, loving, healthy marriage. But reality sets in. You've moved in with them. Y'all are now married. Life is happening. And those red flags that you knew were there only continue to manifest and grow into, oh my gosh, I don't even want to say, but just concrete barriers. Because now this person is fully who they are. They're comfortable. They are, as true as it's going to be. And when you say vows, when you tell someone that you are going to stay with them and you're going to be by their side till death does you part, that's not something that we take lightly. And I know that when people get married, that's not something that they take lightly. And I know it's something that they take very serious. And so within that, that's also that pressure of wanting to stick it out and work through whatever it is that there needs to be worked through. But what happens majority of the time is that as those red flags grew into something more concrete and the person's ways became more developed in a negative way, it's harder, right? Because now you've lived together, and don't throw kids in the mix. Now y'all have kids. Now you have mortgage, you have bills. You've been living your lives and really living life together. And so the thought of separating or divorcing or ending it doesn't seem as easy to do, right? Because all of those things matter. But when does it come to the point where you say enough is enough? And that's what I think happens when we ignore the red flags, when we go ahead and we say our I do, and we think that once we get married, these things are going to iron itself out and be okay. And we're going to work through, we're going to, do what the work needs to be done to make this marriage last, when it could have all been avoided, right? There could have been a number of things that happened. Either you took your time, you waited, or you said, you know what? I don't see any progression on this person's end to want to address it from themselves and get better or deal with whatever it is that they need to deal with. And so I'm going to I'm going to opt out. This is going to be a little too serious for me to get into if they are not where they need to be. And that can be in so many different arenas, right? Financial problems is like the leading cause of divorce, right? It's like you get into this marriage, you don't really know how this person is with their finances, or maybe they demonstrate themselves one way, they seem like they got it together. And then now you're 6, 7, 10 years in, and you realize this person has a gambling problem, or they are reckless with their money, they don't save, or they haven't been, taking care of the bills because you and that person didn't discuss, like, how is that going to look? Am I going to pay for this? Or are you going to pay for that? Are we going to, have joint accounts? All of those things. And unfortunately, what tends to happen is that either party, either spouse is like, okay, I can't take this anymore. I'm out. Okay. And it's not that easy to be out, because once you say the D word, once you want to separate and get a divorce, again, you got to factor in all of the things that have accumulated within the time that you have been married to this person. Right. And so with finances, I think that's like the number one issue. I got to look at my stats because I could be making it up. But as far as I know, relationships and marriages of people that I know and they ended, it was due to finances, right? There's also just unavailability in the emotional state. Like you're in a relationship with someone, and before you got married, they didn't put effort, or they didn't, make you a priority to be there for you, to be that supportive person. And you accepted that. You accept the minimum that they gave you. And so now that you're in a a marriage, and they're not providing that for you, now you feel isolated in the marriage. Now you feel like, he's not connecting, she's not connecting with you. And there's just a big void, right? And you're just going with the motions. Someone lying to you. Like that, to me, if you're a liar, stay away. I don't want to deal with no one who can't tell the truth, who has a story, has an excuse, and is not taking accountability, or not, honest. If they're not honest with you not being married, trust me, they're not going to be honest in the marriage at all, right? Because that's a character flaw. That's a character issue that they need to address and deal with. And so with that, if you end up in a relationship such as this, and you are now married to this person, and you see all of these things being more amplified in the marriage, now it's like, oh my goodness, what have I done? I got to get out of this. But before that ever happens, and we can always learn from other people's, challenges and mistakes and things. Before that ever happens, it's like, take a moment. If you're in a relationship and you're not being treated to your best that you should be treated, what are the things that are not happening that you need to happen, right? Is this person someone who have shown you time and time again the same behaviors, the same outcomes? If that's the case, that's your number one sign that that's what it's going to be in the marriage. That's who they are. People show you who they are the very first time. There's so many dating gurus out here that talk about, like, for men, they're going to tell you straight up what they are about. And this is true. They're going to tell you straight up what they are about. If you are just a plaything, if you are just somebody that they want to waste time with, and you still engage and participate and allow them to waste your time, and then even further, you step into that realm where you're like, okay, he's proposed to me. I want to get married. Society says I need to get married right now. I got a child, or I got 4 kids and nobody else wants me. I might as well get with this one. It ain't perfect, but at least he's there. He a piece of a man. All of that stuff is for the birds, because why set yourself up to be miserable? Why set yourself up to be in a situation that you can foresee way ahead of time before getting so deep in and it getting more complicated to get out? Okay. So for the listeners out there, if this is you, if this has happened to you, right? Allow that to be your lesson, that the next time you get into a relationship, that you do pay attention to those signs. Don't ignore them. Don't think that this man is going to change. Don't think that this woman is going to change. If that woman is lazy, don't want to do laundry, don't cook, don't clean, ain't thinking about you, spending your money, she going to do the same thing in a marriage. If he's lying to you, if he's got women on the side, if you're catching him in other people's DMs, if other people are telling you like, hey girl, I seen him at the sports bar flirting with all these women, believe them. They are not lying to you. Okay. They are letting you know, because if those are the signs, if they're that bold and red, don't let them in your bed, okay? Don't do it to yourself, because the one thing that I've learned is that no, we can't control things that we can't control, but we can control ourselves. We can control our decisions. We can control our emotions. I can't control anybody else or whatever someone else is wanting to do. But if I'm involved with somebody, I'm dating this person is, actively engaged with me and, putting effort, but I'm seeing these little character bits here and there. That's not what you deserve. You don't deserve to be treated that way. And yes, we can feel lonely. Being single is, it's a hit or miss. You got some good days and you got some bad days. We are put here on this earth to not be by ourselves, but to be social and be with people and build relationships. And it's a beautiful thing when you can have a trusting, loving, healthy relationship with someone and not have to think in the back of your mind, oh my God, is this really the right thing to do? Am I settling? Am I just, doing this because I think no one else wants me? That's when you have to look back at yourself, because it shouldn't be that way. You should love yourself first. You love yourself. You're not going to lie to yourself. You're not going to, deceive yourself. You're not going to trick yourself into hurt and pain. You're not going to do all of that to yourself. So whoever is with you, they have to come correct, period. And a lot of times, I have been through this myself. You spin the block with somebody, okay? You spin the block with someone, you thinking, all right, it's been a while. I think they got their act together now. And in all reality, they're no different from the person who's just going to put up a little representative to act like they are doing okay and they got it together. But time will show that they are the same person that you left, the same things that bothered you or were red flags to you in the past when you were dealing with them, it ain't gone nowhere. Okay? Especially if they come back into the situation the same way they came into the situation before. If it was no different, it was just like, oh, we just picked up where we left off. Trust me, that's the worst red flag, because they're really not going to put any effort in to treating you the way that you should be treated. They're going to have this mentality that you ain't going nowhere, and you going to come right back to me. You can try to go date, but you're going to come right back to me, right? And so with that, it's no need to volunteer as tribute and be a part of that at all. And I'm going to tell you this. You could be engaged to somebody. You could have your invitation sent out. You could have even bought your dress for this wedding. It is better to just go ahead and tell them, no, I'm not going to do this, than to deal with years and years of regret that you went forward with this knowing all of the things that is going on with this person. If this person is an alcoholic or has alcoholic tendencies before y'all got married or while y'all were just dating, those signs are real. You can see that. If you see that when a person is drinking, it messes up or affects their emotions, and they get more emotional, they get more aggressive, they get more, irate and abusive verbally to you, that's not going to change in a marriage. The marriage is not going to change them. The marriage is not going to miraculously turn it around where they're going to treat you with love and respect. These are things that are deep within them that they have to work on, right? So there's that, right? Don't fall for the okie doke, y'all. Don't ignore the red flags and get so deep into it because you're afraid of being alone. You're afraid of what society's going to say. You're afraid that you're not going to have a stepfather for your children or a two-parent household, whatever is going on. Don't set yourself short by settling with someone like that, who's not going to respect you, who's not going to love you, who's not going to put you in the best regard that you deserve, right? So I know that was a little heavy, but I had to just kind of break the ice with it. Okay. Now, the other thing, while we're talking about marriages and red flags and things like that, on top of the red flags, you also have to be mindful during this season of cuffing season. Okay, we're going to switch gears. You got to be mindful that if you're in a healthy relationship, you're in something that is flourishing and growing and doing well, you're going to have haters. Haters are going to hate. And I'm going to tell you right now, men and women will both experience what I'm about to say, which is if you're in a healthy relationship, you're beaming, you're glowing, you're having a good time, somebody is going to try to steal your man. Somebody is going to try to steal your woman. Why, you ask? Because some people love to see other people miserable. Some people love to create chaos because that's all they know how to do. And you have some women and men, but you have some women that are very vindictive, that are very much calculated on taking and stealing other women's men. And that's a problem, okay? Especially around this time because they lonely. They don't want to go out and get them somebody new. They want yours, right? Or their man has them as a side piece and telling them all kind of sweet nothings, making them feel like they're going to actually be with you, and keeping this side woman, strung along so that they can have their cake and eat it too. And unfortunately, when it's all revealed, it causes so much hurt and pain. When it's like, at the end of the day, ma'am, sir, you could have just politely told your wife or, your spouse or whatever, like, hey, this relationship ain't working. Let's just cut the ties. Let's just, I don't want to disrespect you. I don't want to disrespect our marriage. So this ain't working, right? I would rather somebody tell me that than to go and cheat on me with some other person. Like, I will let you go. If you want to be out there, in the streets, you want to do what you want to do. Okay. Of course it's going to hurt, but I'm going to let you go. But don't play in my face. Don't play in the person that is there for you, that is supporting you, that is being all of the things and trying to respect the vows to the utmost, and you skedaddling over here with some side piece who's jealous that she don't have what you have. That's a real deal. That's a real situation that's happening. And then it ties hand in hand with the red flags. Like, if the dude that you marry, he's had a problem with being honest and having other women in his phone and, all of that, and you thought y'all getting married, or you thought getting married and having a child was going to change it, no, he's somewhere right now. You thinking that he one place, he's somewhere right now picking up his side piece, taking her to Steak 48, or meeting up with her somewhere in Vegas or San Antonio or New Orleans. Why put yourself through that? There's so many good men, good quality men, and we as women have to keep that in mind, that you do not have to settle for a okie doke person. You really don't. That person, a guy that's doing that, he's insecure. Period. I don't care what nobody says. He can pretend he got confidence, or he can be like, oh, well, I got this money, so this is just the life. This is what it is. Whatever. You're insecure. Because if you were secure, you would not do anything to purposely hurt your wife or your girlfriend. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't. And I'm going to keep marriage as the key, because I think that's what we're not in this time right now. We're not taking it as serious as before, right? It's kind of like, okay, well, I can get a divorce and call it a day. It doesn't seem like it's taken with such value, but it really is, And so you got to be careful. You got to be careful of those lurking and scheming and skinning and grinning in your man's face, but hopefully you were with a man that loves you and doesn't want to hurt you in that way, and will be able to spray the roaches that are trying to come and invade y'all's situation and keep them at bay and put them in check. And it'd be great, right? So how does that look on the flip side with women who are in healthy relationships, and healthy relationships, got a wonderful man, he's, treating them great? I'm going to tell you, they were just talking about this a few days ago, and it taught me a new vocabulary word: dirty macking. Dirty macking. I didn't know that term until the other day. Apparently, there was Cam Newton talking to Mario, and he was, saying what he does if there's a girl he's interested in and she's in a relationship. He's going to tell her straight up, like, hey, he not me, right? He's got that much confidence and he's exuding it. So he's letting her know, like, Who you with ain't got nothing on me, so you might as well come this way. All right. Just just in that right there is a turn off to me, because first of all, why are you hating on my man or my husband and you don't even know who he is? You don't know nothing about him, but you want to compare yourself and try to throw a dig at somebody that has, because he has me, because I'm, quote unquote, something that you just want for a mere inkling of a time. But that's real. That's what these men will do. That's the flip side of, the woman trying to get your husband or your man. You got these dudes that are out here plotting and really just waiting for your successful relationship to crumble, because they want to, get in your ear and try to tell you something, or try to make it seem like what you have is not real. I had a very interesting conversation with someone who, in fact, did this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the dirty macking right here in my face. Like, how are you talking about someone that you don't know? How are you creating narratives and trying to, sabotage what I have, that I know that I'm living through, that's wonderful? How are you doing that? Because your agenda is that you want to distract me and get my mind thinking that, oh, the worst is happening. My man is not going to be as loyal, or whatever the case may be, because you want to have a shot to shoot your shot with me. It ain't going to work, friend. It's not going to work. And when you're confident in yourself, it goes back to that. Being confident in yourself, being confident in the relationship that you have, you don't have to worry about that. You can look at the people that are trying to come at you and literally block it right away, because you're like, I have somebody who builds me up, who gives me confidence, who loves on me, who encourages me. This that you're saying is all a distraction. It's all a fabricated trick to try to get me off of the main goal that I have. And so you got to be careful, because they out here plotting on our downfall. You know what I mean? And if you're single, you don't want to fall into that space. You can find you someone respectful, kind, nice, all of the things that you're looking for, if you first deal with yourself, right? Deal with yourself first. Get yourself to a point where you are dateable. You are, you've healed from all of the trauma and the things that have happened to you. If you are going through something and you haven't went through therapy, and your only therapy is through alcohol, and that makes you, transform into somebody that no one wants to be around, wake up and look at that, because that's what is blocking your blessing to be with someone. To be with someone who's going to love you and be there for you and give you all of the things that you deserve, right? If you are a woman who is okay with being a side chick or dealing with somebody else's husband, you're going to be blocking your blessings left and right. That man that is for you, that man that you could potentially be with, you probably passed them 100 times, because you chasing after somebody else's husband. You waiting on them to come pick you up. You're waiting on them to leave their wife. Come on now. We all seen the movie Ray. He not going to leave his family, his wife for you. It's just not going to happen. Right? So, like I said, this topic, it was a good one for me, because I know it's heavy. I know it's, may even ruffle up some feathers, but it's real. Because at the end of the day, we're the new adults out here, and the same problems and the same issues are still happening. Like, we're not learning from other people's mistakes. We're not learning from the past and seeing, like, oh, they ignored the red flags. They didn't see, they didn't go to counseling, they didn't do this. Well, I'm going to do the same thing. You're going to get the same outcome. And I know we can't change the world, in one day. But if we really concentrate and work on ourselves and work on ourselves as a community and really apply a different type of level of value to family, to marriages, to relationships, and we really show that respect, not only for that, but for ourselves, we can, in fact, change the world. We can, in fact, change our community and how things are ran, So I'm not going to hold y'all too much longer. But I definitely wanted to talk about this a little bit tonight. So I hope you enjoyed the conversation. One thing I want to leave you guys with is a couple of, food for thought, little reflections. And that is, what red flags have you ignored? What would you give to, as far as advice? What advice would you give to someone if you have been through this type of situation in any one of these scenarios? What kind of advice would you give to someone who is single, who is out here trying to, put themselves in the right position to meet the right person? What advice would you give them? If you can, leave that in my messages, DM messages, or you can also put it underneath the actual post for this link on my Instagram, which is Ain't That Something to Listen To? And those twos are the number 2. So don't forget to follow, also subscribe, and, rate this channel, because that's very important as we try to grow. I don't know if y'all seen or not, but I do have a goal. We are trying to get 100 followers. We're at 84 the last time I looked. We gained 2 more followers just today. So we are trying to reach our goal of 100 followers by December 31st. So I need all your help. If you liked what you heard tonight in this episode, please share it. Like it, comment on it. We want to get Ain't That Something on the map. So thanks again, and until next time.